what I've come across here is probably one of the most common hedgerow plants that we have in this country. Hawthorn, otherwise known as Crataegus laevigata, probably the best natural heart tonic that we have in the British Isles. You see these bright red berries that are on there at the minute. These are very, very dense in compounds called OPCs. Right, well, next to it we've got rose hips, another one that's really, really common to the British Isles. This time of year you find it everywhere. You find it in car parks, you find it in parks, you find it by the river, all over the place. Now these little hips here, these little red berries, these are one of the richest sources of vitamin C on the planet, believe it or not. Now everyone obviously thinks oranges and citrus fruit for vitamin C. These things are about 100 times more concentrated in vitamin C than an orange. One of the things that's most important to me is actually convincing people that health food does not equate to being boring food. There's this misconception that for some reason when you start eating healthily it's going to be a couple of carrot sticks, a flimsy piece of lettuce and a few spinach leaves. That's so not the case. So first off, into a food processor. Right, okay, so the first thing, get the mixed nuts into the food processor. And that's about the kind of texture that you're going to need. Just a nice coarse blend. First thing to go in is ashwagandha. This is probably the most well-known tonic herb in traditional Indian Ayurvedic medicine. Basically what this does, it helps to increase energy production, it helps to build stamina, also helps to support immunity as well. Right, and the last thing to put in, just to give a little bit of sweetness to the base, is a few dates. Probably about 5 or 6 is all you need. Now, cacao butter, this is oil. Basically it's the oil portion of the cacao bean, the raw chocolate bean that's been cold pressed out of this. This is actually a saturated fat, but it's good for you. There's a lot of controversy that surrounds saturated fat, and what it boils down to is saturated fat is only bad for you when it's been cooked. That's because the heat actually alters, above a certain temperature it actually alters the chemical structure of the fat. And it's pretty much one step away from being plastic. Right, there's just enough cacao butter in here to give us a nice sticky doughy sort of consistency, which will then make into our taut base. Right, so that's all in there. So what I need to do now is start to press this down to make just like a pie base, really, or like a cheesecake, that kind of textured base, really. Right, so that's all in there nicely. What I'm going to do is put it in the freezer. It just kind of speeds things along. It helps it to set a little bit faster whilst we work on the filling. First two things might seem a little peculiar for a sweet dish: avocados. Right, so literally with the avocados, spooning all of the flesh straight into the blender. Right, so the next thing we're going to do, as it's a chocolate orange tort, got to grate an orange zest into here first. Absolutely jam-packed with bioflavonoids. Now, there's likely to be a few pips in here. See, most people just like squeeze the juice through their fingers, but because I'm a big girl's blouse and I don't like getting sticky fingers, I'm just going to use a sieve. Any nasty bits in there, the sieve's going to catch it, but all the juice is going to go through. The next thing to go in is cashew nuts. Completely raw, don't use cooked nuts, really not good for you at all. Raw cashew nuts, about 150 grams here, so that just goes straight into the blender. Chocolate, believe it or not, can actually be a health food, providing it's raw. So we're really packing a nutritional punch with this dish already. Honey, despite what you might think, honey is actually one of the most healing substances on the planet. Absolutely bursting with different active enzymes that can work as like antibacterial agents. There's a lot of minerals in there, there's a lot of amino acids in there. So I'm going to put about 2 and a bit full teaspoonsful. Okay, that's our honey. Important to lick the spoon. Right, so now, here comes the magic. Time to blend it up. Coconut oil. Coconut oil is amazing. It's another saturated fat. Again, it's raw, cold pressed. It's got some really interesting compounds in here. There's something in coconut oil called MCTs, or medium chain triglycerides, and these are actually metabolic stimulants, so believe it or not, this can actually be a bit of a weight loss aid. I'm going to transfer it into the blender here, straight into that mixture that we've just done. Doing things like this, if you can create your favourite dishes, if you can create these amazing desserts in a way that, you know, they taste good, they're decadent, they're enjoyable, but they're providing you with so many nutrients and nourishing you on so many levels, you can't get much better than that. Life's good. And just give it a good stir. Wow! Feel like Willy Wonka. There we go. It's a chocolate orange truffle torte. So imagine your typical nasty, processed, fatty chocolate truffle torte, the kind of thing that you would have in restaurants. Is that the same texture or what? You've got that lovely, fluffy, truffly kind of textured chocolate filling, nice, crisp, nutty base. Ticks all the boxes for me. So I suppose the only thing left to do really is eat it. Look at that. This is how all health food should be.
About 3 years ago I went to my then GP with being tired all the time, chronic fatigue. Because undiagnosed diabetes is no laughing matter. You can lose your sight, you can lose, have your limbs amputated. Well, we met in the health shop in Cambridge where he was doing sessions, and almost immediately he was giving me lots of time, lots of advice, and you know, he's not dry and humourless either. You know, you can have a laugh. And as I say, going to the shop was almost a therapy in itself. I knew I was going to have a session there that was going to help me and make me feel brighter and more positive, apart from anything else.
Right, so it's been about 3 months since I last saw you. How have things been? For long term are going to be the multi and the omega-3s. Obviously the multivitamin because you're covering the nutritional bases, but the omega-3 is really to support the health of the nervous system. So obviously with any kind of diabetic condition, you've got the risk of peripheral neuropathy. So you need to make sure that you're getting the right building blocks to maintain the health of the nervous system. Okay, so the omega definitely can stick with, and the multi. The internal environment of the colon needs to be suitable in order for those kind of bacteria to actually adhere to the colon wall and start to do their thing. Then it depends if there is any kind of dysbiotic organism, if there is a bad bacteria in there, what it's doing, how severely it's doing it, and how it's affected the gut wall as well. Definitely do get it checked out though. See what you can find out. See if you can get a referral to a gastroenterologist as well, just to rule everything out, just so you're sure, and you can go through the right channels that way. The digestive system is probably the most self-regulating system of all, and it can get itself back to normal functioning very quickly. You just have to give it the right environment, and that's the key. It's making the right changes that create an internal environment for it to get back to normal functioning.